back to another episode of Reverend Sam and the Church of the Spinning Wheel. This week I'm going to be discussing how my favorite singer-songwriter built my favorite guitar. You probably have already figured out from the badly played intro music who that singer-songwriter is, but if not, I'm talking about internationally touring singer-songwriter slash comedian slash best-selling author slash croc footwear enthusiast Mishka Shubaly. As many of you on social media know, Mishka and I are pretty good friends. How that all came to be was basically I was a fan of his music and I messaged him on Facebook. We kind of started talking. Then he came to town a bunch of times. We ended up hanging out and having a I won't say a good time for us, I guess, and just kind of became friends. So, if you're a fan of Mishka, I highly recommend that you start private messaging him while you're drunk. That's what I did, and it's worked out really, really good for me. I've got to go to Doug Stanhope's house because of it. He built me a guitar, and that's all because I drunkenly messaged a musical hero of mine. So I would highly recommend that you do the exact same thing. But in all seriousness, I was a fan. I ended up becoming friends with him on Facebook. I did drunkenly message him. We did end up becoming friends in spite of that, not because of that. And over the last 3 years, we've shared some strange and interesting times together. If you'd like to read about a couple of those strange and interesting and painful for me times, buy my second book, Totality, How I Fell and How I Got Back Up. It's available on Amazon.com. There's a really good story about me and Mishka basically becoming friends in spite of the fact that I vomited all over his friend's bathroom and then had to be rushed to the hospital. So why did Mishka build me this guitar? My beautiful wife, who we've been together for about 24 years now, about a month and a half ago, maybe 2 months ago, we were sitting around the campfire drinking beer, and she brought up the fact that she really missed me playing guitar. I've been playing now about 35 years. At one time, years ago, I was really, really, really serious about it. But as it often does for people who end up having to go to work for a living, kind of fell by the wayside. I would pick my guitar up maybe once every couple of months, once every 6 months, once a year. It wasn't that I didn't have time, it was that I didn't have the energy or the inspiration after a long work day to sit down and play guitar. Well, when your wife tells you that she misses you playing guitar, you make a concerted effort to start making the time to play again. Within the next day or two, I was in the middle of a text conversation with Mishka, and most of our text conversations it's basically text roasting each other, intermixed with actual information about what's going on and what we think about this or that. But right in the middle of that, I happened to mention that Melissa was wanting me to play guitar again, and that I was starting to pick up my old acoustic I've had for about 30 years. And Mishka brought it up. He said, "Well, what's your dream guitar? What's your favorite guitar?" And I said, Telecaster. Hands down, I've just always loved Telecasters. There's no real reason for it. There isn't like a musician that I grew up being a fan of that played a Telecaster. They just always looked the way that a guitar should look to me. Mishka replied something along the lines of, wow, those are really hard to come by, which I'm well aware of because I've almost bought several of them, but they were just so expensive for how beat up the ones that I had access to were. They just weren't worth it, and I wasn't going to spend $1,000 on a guitar that I really wasn't playing. Back when I really would have played a guitar like that every day, day in, day out, I couldn't afford it. When I could afford it, it didn't actually have the time to play it all the time, so it wasn't worth spending the money on. So the next day I was rereading our text messages back and forth, and came to realize that Mishka was offering me a guitar. Usually when we're texting, it's about 11 o'clock at night, and I'm pretty fucking drunk. So I hit him back up the next day, and I'm like, wow, that's really cool of you, to offer me a guitar. Of course I picked the, one that you don't have ready access to. He said, well, hey, do you want to borrow a guitar? Mishka, if you follow him on social media, Mishka has a lot of guitars and a lot of absolutely beautiful vintage guitars. So I'm like, yeah, I'd love to borrow a guitar. That'd be great. Then he sent me a picture of this Jazzmaster. Right here's the headstock, right behind me. The old Jazzmaster. It's been featured in a previous video. It's a mid-'80s Japanese Jazzmaster, signed to Mishka by Dick Dale. And he's like, hey, you wanna borrow this? I'm like, fuck yeah. I've actually never played a Jazzmaster. I've heard good things, their pickups have a very distinct sound, and yeah, I'd absolutely love to. So I did. I borrowed that, and he loaned me this nice old Alamo tube amp that you can probably hear buzzing in the background right now. Just a small little practice tube amp. I never looked up what year it is, but it's really, really old. I've had to do a little bit of soldering on it and to get it to buzz less, and so there was a little bit of extra work involved with borrowing, but that's part of borrowing stuff. You want to give back anything you borrow. You want to give it back in better condition than you got it. And when he does finally repo this amp and guitar from me, they will be in a better condition than when he gave them to me. So I've been playing this Jazzmaster for about a month now, and about 2 weeks ago, he sent me a picture of this Telecaster body with nothing in it, just the body stripped. Asked me if I liked it, if I wanted it, or he had also picked up a natural raw finish Telecaster body, and I could take my pick. And I, of course, picked this one because I'm a hot rod guy, and I love the metal flake and the weird color. It really spoke to me when he sent me the picture. It just looked absolutely beautiful to me. He disagreed. He tried to talk me into the natural wood finish one, but no, I could not be dissuaded. I really just loved this color. So about a week after that, I was at his house, and he had it almost completely assembled. It had the neck on it, it had the pickups, it had the pots, the switch, everything was wired in. All it needed was tuning machines and I believe the bridge and strings, and that was it. He let me choose between the new style bridge, which I probably should have went through because they attenuate better properly, but he had a set of the old style bridge, the old style pickups. He put a 2004 Mexican Telecaster neck on it. The pickups they sound great. They're clean and crisp and sound like a Telecaster. Has that very distinct bluesy Telecaster sound to it. It plays great. It's got some fine tuning, and I will eventually take the strings off and do a little bit of fine tuning on the bridge and change the action just a little bit on the strings. I get a little bit of string buzz out of it. But for a Telecaster, slapped together out of spare parts from one of my absolute favorite musicians and one of my favorite people, and then given to me as a gift, I will never get rid of this guitar. I will have it forever. And I haven't been able to stop playing it since I got it. I mean, I just haven't been able to stop. It sounds great, plays great. It was an incredibly meaningful gift. I've always wanted a Telecaster, but getting this guitar has completely inspired me to start playing again every single day, which has made my wife really, really happy. Last Saturday, I spent like probably 2 hours just sitting around the campfire with her, drinking beer and playing the old acoustic, and she's loving it. I'm loving it. Thank you so much, Mishka. Now, the other thing that I want to talk about is, if you follow me on social media, then you probably know that my little buddy, Tristan Rennie, professional skateboarder, basically a member of my family, was selected for the Olympic skateboarding team. There's lots and lots of opinions on whether or not skateboarding should be in the Olympics by skateboarders. People outside of skateboarding all pretty much seem to be of one mind that, yeah, it should be in the Olympics and it's a sport and all that. And I'm not going to get into any of that. I no longer offer opinions on skateboarding at all. If you have an opinion on whether or not the skateboarding should be in the Olympics, tell it to a friend. Don't bother talking to me about it. I'm happy for my friend who is going to be an Olympic athlete and is also opening up an endless amount of Caitlyn Jenner jokes that I'm going to be using on him until he wins his gold medal. So good luck, Tristan, on your Olympic journey. Very proud of you, dude. So that has been another episode of Reverend Sam. As always, please hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the little bell notification button, because apparently all that shit does stuff. Share this video on Facebook. Share this video on Twitter. My Twitter handle at Video Welder. Instagram, I'm at Keelygram. Facebook at Samuel J. Keely. Everybody have a great week.